My first real babysitting job was for the Millers. They lived in that big, old Victorian house on the corner of Elm and 3rd, the one with the wraparound porch that always seemed to be in the shade, even on a sunny day. I was 16 and beyond eager to prove I was responsible. Mrs. Miller was really nice on the phone, and she offered to pay me double the usual rate. I didn't ask why. I should have asked why. The night I showed up, things felt off right from the start. The house was dead quiet, not peaceful quiet, the kind of quiet that feels heavy, like it's pressing down on your ears. Mr. Miller answered the door. He didn't smile. He just nodded and let me in. The kids, Lily and Noah, were already in their pajamas, watching TV with glassy eyes. They were sweet, but they were so quiet. They didn't argue or complain when I said it was time for bed. They just went. As Mrs. Miller was pulling on her coat, Mr. Miller handed me a single piece of lined paper, folded in half. His hand was shaking just a little. "We need you to read this carefully," he said, his voice low and serious. "These are the rules for the house. It's very important that you follow them exactly as they're written. Can you do that?" I unfolded the paper. The handwriting was messy, like it had been written in a hurry. 1. The children must be in their rooms with the doors closed by 8:30 p.m. Do not check on them after. 2. At 9:15 p.m., you must close the living room blinds. Do not look outside before you close them. 3. If you hear a man humming from the basement, go to the kitchen and turn the sink faucet on. Let it run for 1 full minute. The humming will stop. 4. The landline phone will ring once tonight. The caller ID will say home. Do not answer it. 5. At 10 p.m., our dog Buster will scratch at the back door. Let him in. He will go to sleep at the foot of the stairs. Do not pet him. 6. You may hear walking in the attic. Do not acknowledge it. It is not walking. 7. Under no circumstances are you to go into the basement for any reason. I remember looking up from the list and giving a nervous laugh. Is this a joke? Mr. Miller didn't laugh. He just looked at me and his eyes were dead serious. No, he said, it is not a joke. Please, just follow the rules. And then they left. I stood in the silent hallway, holding that stupid piece of paper. Part of me was weirded out, but the bigger part, the 16-year-old part, decided they were just insanely overprotective weirdos. I crumpled the paper up and tossed it on the counter. I wasn't going to play along with their creepy game. The next few hours were fine, normal. I watched TV, scrolled on my phone. I heard the kids get up once to use the bathroom, but they went right back to bed. I must have lost track of time, because when I next looked at the clock, it was 9:25. I'd missed the thing with the blinds. I figured it didn't matter. I walked over to the big living room window. The street was dark and empty. As I reached for the blind cord, my eyes flicked to the house directly across the street, and that's when I saw him, a man. He was standing perfectly still on the sidewalk under a street lamp. He was wearing a long dark coat, which was strange because it was a warm night and he wasn't moving. He was just standing there, facing the Miller house, facing me. A cold knot tightened in my stomach. I fumbled with the cord and yanked the blind shut, my heart suddenly pounding. It was just a guy standing outside, I told myself, probably waiting for a friend, but the image of him, so still, so focused, stuck in my head. I tried to go back to my show, but I couldn't concentrate. The house was too quiet. That's when I heard it, a low, quiet sound, a man's voice humming a tune I didn't recognize. It was coming from behind the door that led to the basement. The list. Rule 3. My blood went cold. This wasn't a coincidence. I practically ran to the kitchen and turned the sink faucet on full blast. The sound of the water was loud and normal, and it helped a little. I stared at the timer on the microwave, counting down the longest minute of my life. When it hit 0, I turned the water off. The humming had stopped. The silence that followed was thick and awful. I sat on the couch, pulling my knees up to my chest, just listening. That's when the phone rang. The sharp, shrill sound made me jump out of my skin. I slowly turned my head. The old phone on the wall was ringing. I could see the little screen from where I was sitting. Caller ID home. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. It rang 15 times before it stopped. The house was silent again, but it felt different now. It felt watched. At exactly 10 o'clock, a frantic scratching started at the back door. Buster, thank God, a normal dog, a real living thing. I rushed to the door and unlocked it, pulling it open, ready to see a happy dog. There was nothing there. The scratching stopped the second the door was open. The backyard was empty and dark. I backed away from the door, my hands shaking. I was so scared I felt sick, and then I heard it above me. Thump, drag, like someone with a heavy limp was pacing in the attic. Rule 6, it is not walking. What else could it possibly be? I wanted to call my mom. I wanted to get out, but all the lights in the house suddenly went out with a soft click. The TV died. The digital clocks on the stove and microwave went black. Total darkness. Total silence. The dragging sound in the attic stopped. The circuit breaker. I knew it was in the basement. Rule 7 screamed in my head. But what was the alternative? Sit in the dark with whatever that was up there. I found a flashlight in a kitchen drawer. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely hold it. I opened the basement door and a wave of cold, damp air hit me. The stairs groaned as I walked down, the flashlight beam jumping all over the place. The basement was just a concrete hole filled with junk and shadows. I saw the breaker box on the far wall. I just had to get to it. As I passed through the middle of the room, my light swept across the floor. Someone had drawn a big circle in what looked like chalk or paint, and inside the circle, right in the center, was an old-fashioned rotary phone. Its cord was sliced clean through, just lying next to it. I froze. I couldn't process what I was seeing, and then I heard it again, the humming. It wasn't coming from the stairs anymore. It was right behind me, soft and low and right by my ear. I didn't even turn around. I dropped the flashlight and ran. I don't remember touching the stairs. I just remember slamming the basement door shut behind me and flying out the front door. I didn't stop running until I was blocks away. The Millers found me sitting on the curb, crying. I told them everything. They didn't look shocked. Mrs. Miller just looked sad. Mr. Miller helped me up and said, "We should have paid you triple. We're sorry." I never went back. I found out later that the people who lived in that house before the Millers were an old woman and her adult son. The son had severe schizophrenia. He believed the house was talking to him through the phone lines. He disappeared the same night the old woman died. The police found his journals. He wrote about the man who hums in the walls and the walker in the attic. They found the symbols drawn in the basement. They never found him. I still have dreams about that phone ringing, and sometimes, on the anniversary of that night, my own phone will ring once. When I pick it up, there's nothing there, just the sound of someone softly humming.